Thank you, Veda. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Deepika, and I will be your host this evening. I welcome you all to this absolutely phenomenal session on great health. It's a fantastic program. It's changing, it's turning around life for a lot of people, and I'm sure it'll do so for you too, if you do what you're supposed to and what you're required to. It's my honor and privilege to introduce tonight's two main speakers for the evening. Our first speaker is our mentor, our guru, our coach. Uh, he's a name to reckon with in the field of sports, an ex-Indian Navy officer. He has represented our country for 40 years internationally on the global platform in the field of yachting. He's winner of innumerable national and international awards and the prestigious Chhatrapati Shivaji Award and the Arjuna Award. Our second speaker for tonight, well, ladies and gentlemen, you will be surprised. She's an IT professional by background. She was, at a director level at one of the largest IT companies in the country and the world. And, she had these situations at her home with her own lifestyle that she decided to choose getting healthy herself and making everybody healthy around her, essentially because that's the need of the hour today. Are carbs good? Are carbs bad? Which carbs are good? What is glycemic index? What is glycemic load? What is sugar? Is sugar good for us? What form of sugar is good for us? Why do we focus on fruits? Why do we focus on vegetables? Why do we talk about salads? Why is fiber so important? All of this and much, much more, very, very simplified in a first-hand version from our second speaker. But I'll not take too much into their time. I'd like to invite Farooq, who will then introduce our second speaker for the evening. Good evening, Farooq. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Deepika. And good evening, everyone, and welcome to this exciting Monday session. If you give your body the right amount of nutrition and the right amount of exercise, not too much and not too little, you would have found the safest way to health. Most of the lifestyle challenges that you are facing today stems from the basic problem with the consumption of, high calorie food, which comes in, junk food, fast food, the processed food, the refined food, the super refined food. All this really, over a period of time, affects your overall holistic health. And that is the reason that we encourage people on this community to share their plates. Because over a period of time, when you share your plates, you will realize what you should be eating, what carbs are simple carbs and what carbs are complex carbs. It is not a straightforward equation that carbs are bad or carbs are good. It is the right carbs which are required because it is one of the macronutrients that is required. I see people do this crazy things like, oh, I've stopped, eating rice, I've stopped eating chapati, I've stopped eating this. You can really be very devoid of basic energy if you do that. The important key is to understanding and learning, what is the glycemic index, what is the glycemic load of a food. And when you're putting that food on your plate, you need to be able to understand that, are these the right carbs for me? And if you don't do that, you will just keep adding that little more over every day. It gets into every week, every month, goes by every year. And then all of a sudden, we find that people, when they go from their 30s to 40s, it is normal to increase about 10 kilos in weight. And they have not increased 10 kilos in weight. What the part they don't understand is, if you do the maths, they have only gained 3 grams per day. So if they had done the right amount of exercise, then and eaten the right food, ensuring that those calorie levels are low, the 3 grams per day would not have come up. And if that didn't come up, you'd have maintained the same weight from 30 to 40. That is the reason why we encourage people on the community. Why is this community so important? Because most people think that when they really try to understand this subject, They think it is, way beyond, there's too much to do. Array, it's okay if we'll end up, if there's a problem, we'll go to the doctor. And then there's over dependence on medication, starts, a compounding effect of one health challenge after the other. And we are looking at people who turn around and say, okay, hey, I'm in my 60s, I'm in my 70s, I'm in my 80s, 90s, and I'm medicine free. This whole community is all about trying to impart this knowledge so that everybody in the community, is less dependent on medication, is medicine free, and by making some simple lifestyle changes, which they thought was not possible. Okay, these simple lifestyle changes are very easy to do, but they're also very easy not to do. And that is the choice which most people make. So I really encourage you to make the right choices. Listen to Veda today, because she had all the excuses in the world why she could not eat the right carbs because of her strain of the job, because of her corporate employment, and she had all the legitimate reasons. But once she made up her mind that she wanted to change this around, her journey, her transformation is absolutely amazing. I mean, you'll be shocked when you see her transformation journey, that how can somebody transform their bodies from this state to this state. So listen to her very carefully, because she's really worked hard now. She's a master at this subject. She exactly knows what should go on that plate and what should not go on the plate. So even when she has the wrong stuff on the plate, she knows that those things have to be limited. Because if you are taking the wrong stuff, but you are taking it in a smaller quantity, the damage is going to be that much less. It's obvious, there's no rocket science over here. So listen to her carefully, because what she has to say will have a significant impact, on your holistic health. Over to you, Veda.
Thank you so much, Farooq. As you've so rightly mentioned, with the hectic lifestyle, we all think that, okay, we can't take care of what we are eating because we are so dependent on, say the canteen food, for example, क्योंकि time नहीं है खुद का डब्बा बनाने के लिए. But, in this program, the whole program is designed in such a way that simple things. Did you all know? Because traditionally, I think most of us have rice and chapati together in our lunch plates or dinner. I don't know, right? At least that was what I used to always have. And canteen mein jao to lunch, full lunch plate mango. So you get both teen chapati, one katori of rice, a sweet, and all of that. The simplest change that any one of us can make in terms of carbs is don't have both rice and chapati because they are two different carbs. So this program has made it simple for us to understand and follow as well, right? So let's talk about the subject today in terms of carbs, more on carbs, what you should actually eat. More than that, see, as Farooq said, we are not going to tell you not to eat carbs, okay, because carbs are macronutrients, you require it. But the name itself or the category itself, macro, matlab, it is found in abundance in the food that we eat. So let's look at what is the right carb. So before we go there, why are we talking about and why do you hear ki carbs kam khana chahiye? Okay. This is the first graph that I want to show in the three different macronutrients, which is carbs, carbohydrates, protein, and fats, right? Look at the blood glucose, what do you say, impact or rather the rise in blood glucose post food. In the sense, you've had your food, right? Carbs have the highest or the steepest increase in blood sugar level, whereas proteins, the sugar level increases gradually, okay? And then you have fats. Okay, so it takes time. When you have more of proteins or fats, your postprandial or post-food sugar levels will not increase very sharply, okay, immediately. So if you have the wrong carbs, especially, or the simplified carbs, your blood glucose level shoots up. And that's where you have this sudden surge of energy when you have too much, but then it also immediately dips down, leading into lethargy. And that's when you have, say, when you have a lot of rice and roti and the whole plate and you just can't go back to work. मेरे जो afternoon वाले calls होते थे, I used to almost sleep, okay, drowsy. Why? Because your energy level immediately drops down. That's when you feel sleepy after food. Now let's come to what are carbs. Carbs are organic compounds composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. They're the primary source of energy. So you need carbs. You know what Farooq mentioned, you need that energy. But you need to understand ki what are the sources of carbs, because it is not just roti or millets or rice jahan se aapko carbs milta hai. So, and of course, if you are overweight or obese, you have fats inside that can be burned for producing the energy that the body can utilize, right? So it's the source of energy for mainly the brain and the muscles. They are essential nutrients which include sugars, fibers, and starches. Okay, we'll see further more, in the next few slides on more on carbs. So what, again, as we said, it provides energy. It's just like the petrol is a fuel to a car or a two-wheeler or anything. Similarly, it during digestion, it breaks down to simple sugars. Now, suppose you're going to eat simple sugars, say a refined sugar, it's already broken down. तो आपका पेट कुछ काम ही नहीं कर रहा है, so कुछ कैलोरीज नहीं जाएंगे. Once it is broken down into simple sugars, ये जो intestine का जो layer है, this is your intestine actually. Okay, so in your intestine, ये जो layer है, this absorbs those glucose into the bloodstream. So your glucose now are absorbed into the bloodstream. Glucose gets sent to your blood cells, okay, by insulin. So you need to have the food when insulin is generated. You will understand why I'm talking about this, okay? Why have food when insulin is generated? What does insulin do? Insulin actually sends these, the glucose as a fuel into your cells. It actually inserts it into your cells so that it is used for energy. Okay. And whatever is not used, it is stored as fat for later use. Right? So even if you're not having enough, obviously I'm not telling a very slim person or a fit person that carbs, ki zarat hi nahi hai, whatever, but everyone needs it, but in moderate amounts. Now, what are the two different types of carbs? Ek simple carbs hai और एक complex carbs है. Simple carbs is anything like a sugar. Okay, agar aap, even honey and all of that are sugars. So that is simple carbs. What are complex carbs? Complex carbs hai two categories mein. One is in the category of starches, okay, which you will find in root vegetables and all. And then in fibers where you will find across vegetables and fruits. Okay? Starches you will also find in grains, your cereals. That's what you will find here. Whereas here you get it, fibers, you get it in mostly fruits and vegetables. Okay. So when you're eating, what is important is when you're eating is ye jo portion hai, complex carbs needs to be higher. Now you may say that, okay, grains mein agar, complex carbs hai, so rice is fine. Unfortunately, the white rice that we eat, uska jo pura husk and outer layering nikal jata hai, it turns out into just plain more of, processed and simplified carbs. And hence, it is necessary to probably, instead of a plain white rice, probably red rice or a millet. Now, you'll see again why millets versus plain white rice or whatever when you look at the next topic. But the next step is why do you need carbs from a health perspective, right? One, and not just carbs, complex carbs. When you have complex carbs, it helps in weight management. Why? Complex carbs take longer to digest. तो वो digestion process में you are actually releasing calories. आप calories ले रहे हो. Complex carbs में every food item has a thermic effect of food. मतलब expended, when you're releasing energy or breaking down, it releases some energy. The more complex it is, protein has higher release of calories because it takes longer for our body to digest the protein. Similarly, it takes longer for our body to digest complex carbs versus simple carbs. Hence, it will help in maintaining or reducing the weight vis-a-vis a simple carb. ठीक है. Now, better metabolic health, क्योंकि जितना आपका body काम करता है, your metabolism will be improved. It will maintain the sugar level, so there will not be an immediate surge. The surge of sugar is lower in complex carbs versus simple carbs. And eventually, of course, it will help you in your heart health. Okay? आज क्या करते हैं हम लोग? When we look at your plate, any general plate, you will see that carbs is actually the maximum portion. है ना. रोटी भी है, चावल भी है. Even if you're not, even North Indians, say for example, when we talk to some folks, they eat like what? 3 aloo parathas for breakfast. Imagine, आपका paratha में wheat है, that's already carbs. You have aloo, which is again carbs. 3 aloo parathas, where is your balanced plate should have protein, it should have your micronutrients. वो कहाँ से मिलेगा? You will not even have enough appetite to have the rest of it. So your day will not go well. There's no protein at all. कहाँ से आपके सेल को वो, that whole day, how will you get your full energy to do your work? You may get energy, but again, as I said, there'll be a sharp rise in energy, but by the afternoon, you'll feel really tired. So average Indian households get almost half of their total calories from whole grains, whereas it should be hardly 1/3. Okay, in fact, no, it should be 1/6. Okay, it should be 1/6 of your plate, not even 1/3. Calorie share of cereals is as high as 70% in rural areas. The only thing is, agar rural areas mein farmer hai, someone who's actually doing intrinsic work, it doesn't show up in them because they're also doing that much of activity. Like, now that even in rural areas, they sit and watch mobile phones and reels. That is why even there you will see obesity, right? Processed food accounts for nearly 10% of your average total caloric count. Okay. Now, what is the difference between complex and simple carbs? Complex carbs, long chains of sugar molecules. Here it is short chain. So because it is short chain, वो जल्दी digest होता है. Whereas in complex carbs, it takes much longer to digest. Just as we spoke, blood sugar increases slowly in complex carbs, whereas here it is a steep rise and also it will come down crashing. That's what you're seeing here. Causes the crashing feeling. मतलब immediately, sometimes you would feel कि खाना खाने के बाद जब आप just उठते हो या something like that, you suddenly feel dizziness. That surge is there. That's when you have the surge of energy is there and it comes crashing down. That's when you feel dizzy. When your blood sugar levels actually shoot up too high. Okay. Here, in complex, it makes you feel fuller for longer. You will see कि आप सोचो जब आप पार्टी में जाते हो, right? When you go out for a office party or anything, I'm talking about especially lunchtime because that's when you'll realize. At that time, you'll feel full. But somehow, 4:30 बजे, 5 बजे, you will again feel hungry for snacking. That is what happens when you're eating a high carbs, simple carbs food. Okay. You will again feel hungry faster, whereas here it'll make you feel fuller for a longer time. This has more dietary fiber. So obviously the, bulk in your stool and all of that, all of your digestive system is much better. Complex carbs boost your performance, higher in antioxidants and vitamins. What are complex carbs? You have things, as I said, your fruits and vegetables, whole grain bread, oats, brown rice. What are your simple carbs? Any kind of, first of all, any processed thing is simple carbs. Sugar, cereal, which is processed. Cakes, again, has, your preservatives plus soda. All of these are simple carbs, which are not adding any value. They're as good as empty calories. Now, there is a very, very important concept, and now more and more people are getting aware of it. It is glycemic index and glycemic load. Now, what the scientific community has come up with is a measurement of how fast any food item will make your sugars go high. Okay. Now we all think that, okay, watermelon is a sweet fruit. It is. And it is not good for your, say, especially for those who are diabetic and all of that. Actually, it is very different. Now, a watermelon has a glycemic index of 80, which is very high. You will say, yes, glycemic index, as I said, is a measure of how fast your sugar is going to rise. Okay? So, a high glycemic index is bad. Simple. So, glycemic index of watermelon is 80, which is high, it is bad. However, the glycemic load, okay, glycemic load is low. Matlab, the amount of time it would take to load or to rise is very, very low. So it is not going to shoot up your sugars very fast, though it has high sugar content. Okay, glycemic index is high, but because the load is low, so it's always a combination of both of these factors. Now, we've had cases where, people said, okay, chalo, watermelon is great, but बंदा क्या कर रहा था सुबह शाम दोपहर तीनों टाइम वाटरमेलन खा रहा था दैट इज ऑल्सो नॉट गुड बिकॉज व्हाट आर वी टॉकिंग वन सर्विंग ऑफ वाटरमेलन ऐसे नहीं हो सकता कि आप पूरा का पूरा वाटरमेलन एक साथ खाओ देन इट विल नॉट मैटर इट इज गोइंग टू शूट अप so portion size is always very important. Again, an explanation here. I'll just read it out because this is a definition. Glycemic index is a ranking system that measures how quickly carbs in food raise your blood sugar levels compared to a reference point. So say they have taken white bread, which is kind of the worst, or actual glucose, and compared to that, what is your glycemic index? Glycemic load is a measure that considers both quantity of the food and quality of the carbs. So as I said, if you eat a whole watermelon, that's not good. But a portion of a serving of watermelon is actually your glycemic load is very low. It's just 5, imagine. So it's actually a very good fruit. It gives you fiber. It gives you water, which your body needs, right? It provides a more accurate assessment of the impact of carbs on blood sugars. Now, these are your ranges. A low glycemic index is anywhere between 0 to 55. Medium is 56 to 69, and then 70 onwards is higher. Low GL is between 1 to 10. Medium is 11 to 19, and then 20 is higher. This is our representation, an alternative representation. You have these slow fountains, right? That is exactly how your glycemic index works. So it's a low glycemic index where there is slow release, whereas this, when you have a rushed spurt of fountain, it is a high glycemic index. Glycemic load, as I said, it's like a traffic signal. Traffic signal, okay, I come from Pune. Now in Pune, no one follows traffic signals. That is representative of glycemic load being very high. कहीं से भी कहीं पे भी आ जाते हैं, that is glycemic index being load being also very high. There is no control of how the sugar is rising. But when there is a traffic signal, and every traffic signal, the next traffic signal, it's all coordinated, right? So your sugar is flowing, your whole packets of sugar are actually flowing in a uniform manner, in a disciplined manner. That's when your glycemic load is lower. So now here is an example. If you see this now, okay, glycemic, just let's look at, say, white rice, okay, versus probably a quinoa. Okay, quinoa is again a complex carb, okay, and we know that you're recommended. A lot of people now have started having quinoa salads and all of that, yeah, upma and all. Or you take millets. Millets either nahi hai, but comparatively, look at white rice. Your glycemic index is 73, which is very high. Glycemic load is also very high. Whereas if you come to quinoa, it is 53. Your glycemic index is much lower, which is 53, and load is at 13. It is still a little medium high, but much lesser than white rice. So if you look at carbs, can you tell, like, look here, look at this, watermelon 72 versus 4. Other thing that you will see, orange, 40 glycemic index versus 5. Carrots are also very good for even diabetics. Carrots, 47 is your glycemic index and only 3 is your glycemic load. But again, we have to be conscious of the portions that we take. Again, 10 gajar kha ke nahi. That's not a good thing at all, right? Now we have something, that is specifically available. Whoever has invited you to the program today, speak to that person and understand how you can actually get access. If you're a rice eater, right? Instead of eating a white rice or even a brown rice, or even in fact millets, we have something called a BFATS rice, BFATS low GI white rice, which has a glycemic index of only 52, which is lower than the millets. It is basically what they've done is specifically from a particular farm where they have taken that Sona Masuri ka rice plus a Japanese rice, uska jo mixed breed banaya hai, that's they've ensured and assured that the GI is low so that your sugar spike is not as much. Now, and trust me, it is not like for me, I never liked the taste of red boiled rice क्योंकि वो इतना मोटा मोटा आता है and खाने में बहुत ही मुश्किल होता है, though of course it is healthy. This you will not feel that difference in terms of taste and how easily you can eat. So why not switch to this and have a better health? Now carbs, how
Yeah,
does it
Aishu,
help in your
फोन का काय
body
करतेस?
clock? Just a second.
आजीचा फोन आलाय.
Okay. So how does it help in your body clock? Or what is your body clock? Your brain has a main clock, and your different organs have different clocks that get triggered because of certain say day-night cycle or what you eat, etc. Right? Carbs, the good carbs, that is the complex carbs, they reduce your drowsiness, they reduce the stress hormones, and of course the effects of workload. It also improves in improved insulin response, calorie control. Again, you have to be measuring your calories because I don't think we are aware of हर एक चीज कितने calories का है, right? I didn't know that. But इतना समझ में आ गया कि जितना कैलोरी आप खाते हो, ओके, उससे ज्यादा अगर आप आउटपुट नहीं करोगे तो योर वेट इज गोइंग टू इंक्रीज. इट्स दैट सिंपल इक्वेशन, राइट? सो improve fat oxidation, improved memory, better alertness, and responsiveness. But again, that is if you're eating the complex carbs and as per portions. Okay. Now, how much fiber? Fiber is also, as we saw in the earlier slide, it is a form of complex carb. Unfortunately, we haven't given enough importance to fiber. Now, usually in earlier days, at least when I was born like with my Maharashtrian grandmother, and we always had something called koshimbir in our plate, okay, which is nothing but your raita. ठीक है? And that raita was never bundi. Bundi to baad mein aaya. It used to always be a vegetable raita, okay, and not cooked raw like your cucumber, yeah, onion, kanda, and all. Now, what that has fiber. Now, what they're saying is the sedentary, person or a moderate needs to have at least 30 to 40 grams of fiber, dietary fiber every day. That's a man. And a woman needs to have at least 25 to 30 grams. So, on an average, most of us fall into either of these two categories. I would say sedentary maximum. So, at least itna to khana chahiye. Jab aap measure karoge, you're not eating enough. Now, there are two different types of fiber. One is soluble and insoluble, मतलब पानी में dissolve होता है, ये नहीं dissolve होता है. Soluble fiber promotes satiety. Satiety मतलब वो feeling of fullness. तो अगर आप, if you start your meal with salads, two things, you'll do more because they're raw, and your meal, you will end up eating lesser of the rest of the stuff. So always have raw salads in your meal plate, okay, or sprouts, for example. Very good. It'll have protein as well as they're raw. It'll have fiber as well. Lowers cholesterol, soluble fibers, improves blood sugar. How? Again, fibers are not just for, we all think fibers are just for our constipation. No, it has a huge, can you see here? It performs a huge numerous roles. It actually controls your sugar levels from spiking up. Why? दोनों मिला के, like both your soluble and insoluble fibers मिला के, what it does, it slows down the transport of your food from your esophagus to your stomach to your intestine. It slows down. उसमें एक bulk भी create करता है in the intestine. So because of the bulk, your stools are better. Because it creates that bulk. Because it slows down, आपका sugar spike भी slow down होता है, and hence it improves your blood sugar. ठीक है? It is also actually helping in, I don't know where, but I'll show you in the next slide, in lipid control. Okay? Yeah, found in apples, beans, etc. Here you will see more in legumes or from cereals. Okay, insoluble fibers. Now, हमारे पास जो fiber है, okay, in Nutrilite. Now, Nutrilite, as most of you and I hope all of you know, it is pure organic, जहाँ पे you are able to trace from the seed to the supplement. Fiber comes in a powdered form. Okay. When you are doing your gut reset, it is preferred that when you're doing your gut reset or gut cleansing for 10 days, have 30 minutes fiber, 1 scoop of fiber in a glass of water. When you mix it your water, is as good as water. You will not even realize. And have it 30 minutes before breakfast and before dinner. Otherwise, you can always have it along with your protein shake or anything. In fact, you can even make, the recipe that I just shared yesterday or day before, that had fiber in it. Now, what they have done is, this is actually an innovation where they have been able to combine your soluble and insoluble fiber into one powder that you can have. Otherwise, it is very difficult to find it in whatever you eat, both of these, right? So this promotes, so what are the 3 different ingredients in our Nutrilite fiber? One is your resistant maltodextrin. What is this? It's promoting the growth of good bacteria. Forget about the technical term. It is good bacteria. Okay? Provides satiety, which is fullness, benefits your glucose and lipid regulation. यहाँ पे this inulin provides prebiotic effect. मतलब it is food for the good bacteria. So when your good bacteria get inulin, that number of good bacteria is going to increase, and hence all your gut processing will be much more better. Your gut will absorb the right nutrients. Partially hydrolyzed guar gum, what does it do? It is going to suppress your harmful bacteria. So it will reduce your bad bacteria. Hence we say gut reset ke time pe this is extremely important along with your pre and probiotic. One more thing, in fact, I learned this from Raj. Fiber क्या करता है? Now, if you keep putting water, okay, on a particular surface, वो slippery हो जाता है, correct? Now, your ground water will not, stay in the soil. Like I know my mom really waters the plant excessively. तो वो moss form होता है. Now, when you actually, what do you say, toil through and then put the water, it absorbs, right? Fiber does that. So what fiber does is, आपके जो intestinal linings है, वो actually scrub करता है, so that your intestinal lining can actually absorb your nutrients more effectively. That's what fiber does. Because remember one thing, जो आप खाते हो micronutrients, they are, what do you say? They are being sent from the intestinal lining into the blood. Okay. Now, fiber improves your gut health. Gut microbiome is a balanced network of bacteria, which is all what you need for digestion. Dietary, it helps in nutrient absorption. Abhi humne baat kiya. Acts as a prebiotic. We've covered that. Lowers your cholesterol and blood sugar levels. Lowers inflammation as well. What other thing lowers inflammation? If you were attentive in the last session, omega-3 also lowers inflammation, right? So dietary fiber passes through the system and cleanses it from toxins. So that's the last thing. Role of fiber in body clock. Now, especially when you have it in the morning. Morning is your largest meal, right? Morning time is supposed to be your largest meal. Now, in the morning, you need to take the maximum amount of protein. You need to take, complex carbs so that you have the right energy. Third thing is fiber. Please be conscious of these 3 things. And of course, the right, you can always supplement with omega-3 because you're not going to get it in foods because it's as good as a micronutrient. Okay, it's very, very less in the food that we take. Now, what does fiber do when you take it in the morning? It helps you in delaying your next food intake. We talked about satiety, right? When you feel full, it helps you in delaying the next food intake. It prepares your body. It prepares your body to have more good bacteria so that when the next food comes in, that good bacteria is going to be more, will be processing the food further rather than your bad bacteria. Helps to control your glucose level and delays the gastric emptying. As we, this thing वो slow down करता है so that everything, the digestion happens properly, your nutrients are absorbed, and hence it delays, and you will get proper, routine gastric empty. Just a second. Okay. Food swaps. Now, this is a good one. Many people ask me कि अरे आलू पराठा नहीं खाना है तो क्या खा सकते हैं? Can you replace your aloo paratha with I usually have a methi thepla. Instead of stuffing things, mix it. And when you're putting your, say you take atta, right? Put 2 scoops, or depending on that, either 50-50%. जब आप 50-50% of आटा and all plant protein डालते हो तो थोड़ा सा dry होगा. Don't worry about it, but you're eating the right thing. You can reduce the portion of all plant protein if you want, but please add it. Okay. Then you can have any other vegetable or gajar or anything, or dal paratha is good. Paneer, if you are on a weight loss journey, reduce the amount of paneer that you're eating, because though it has proteins, it also has a high amount of calories. So weight loss, you please avoid this or reduce the amount of protein, especially in paratha, that you're going to be eating in the morning. Instead of breakfast, cereals, because again, those are packaged foods. Okay, it will have additional sugars, or it will be a little processed, or it will have your preservatives. Have a dalia. Dalia, I think if you just Google, you will get it if you don't know. Or a whole wheat, no, bread. Okay, we have had a lot of discussions on our forum. White bread, first of all, bread, try and avoid to the maximum. Okay. Earlier in my house, probably bread and biscuits used to be almost alternate or daily. कभी कभी पोहा उपमा टाइम मिला तो वो खाते थे. Weekends में डोसा या इडली. नहीं तो it used to be bread. Now it is sometimes it is once in a week. At times we go to even once in a fortnight. But even when we have it, we look at the ingredients. Please look at the ingredient, not the main thing. Main में 100% wheat नहीं. पीछे जाओ, उधर देखो कितना wheat है, कितना processed, मैदा है and all of that. There you get some multigrain. Look at the preservatives also. So consciously look at what you're eating. Instead of a vada pav, please go for a idli sambar, because idli has, it is fermented food, it has dal as well, so protein is there, and it has good bacteria because of the this thing. So these are suggestions that you can take. Best thing is, instead of even lime water, is of course water, a whole fruit. Now, when you're eating fruit, preferably eat it the first thing in the morning. That's when you get the maximum benefit. Do not eat it in the afternoon time or with some other food, because then it will not help you. Okay. Now, the best way to reduce your high GI food ka impacts is you pair it with protein and fiber. So the impact. Along with that, your portion of your high GI foods should be smaller. So, आप जब balanced meal plate देखते हैं, you can just say that probably, your एक कटोरी chawal is more than enough. Not more than that. And cooked, not the raw rice. Otherwise, you'll end up eating like 3 katoris of cooked chawal, right? Or one roti is more than enough. No paratha. One roti is more than enough. Have loads of cooked vegetables. Have loads of lentils. Or even if you're a non-vegetarian, you can have chicken and all. But again, chicken, agar aap तीनों time ले रहे हो, it's going to increase your fats. It is going to increase your calories. Preferably have fish and add salads to it. Add, grains, legumes, using whole grains, adding non-starchy vegetables. Now, agar aap sabzi बहुत सारा आलू का सब्जी लोगे, again, it's not going to help you, right? So be conscious of what you're, having. Using low GI alternatives, opt for mindful cooking techniques. In terms of, can you go for zero oil cooking? Yes, we do have certain, vessels where you can opt for that, but I won't go into that topic now. Tips to increase your fiber intake: choose whole grain. Whole grain, we just saw that. Eat more fruits and vegetables, because even fruits and vegetables, some of them have carbs, and that should be sufficient. But when you're eating fruits and vegetables, you will also get the micronutrients, you will also get the fibers. Correct? Now, snack on nuts. Snack जब आप बोलते हो, this is actually as part of this program, and especially Farooq is very, very clear कि ये नहीं करना है. Okay, because ideally you need only 3 meals in a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, the timings are also important. If you've missed that session, go to the recording or we'll do it again. But don't snack. There are people who soak, nuts in the night in water and then eat it in the morning. That's fine. But again, please limit it. ऐसा नहीं कि 10 badam in the morning, unless you're a weightlifting person or something. Don't do that. Add beans, lentils, peas, etc. to your soups. Poha mein, for example, poha jab khate hain, now obviously poha has more carbs. Can you add some peas, carrots, or probably a pepper, bell pepper or something, to increase the vegetables? Even in an upma, increase the vegetables so that it balances out. The previous slide said whenever you have a low GI food, add proteins and micronutrients, vegetables in it. Sprinkle some oat bran, flax seeds, etc., and drink plenty of water. And in this program, we believe in shining every day. Start every day with gratitude and optimism. Gratitude for, actually being alive, breathing, having the love of your family, and optimism that yes, tomorrow or today is a new day, and we can restart if you have not yet started on your health journey, or if you have started but had a pause, jo bhi ho, you can restart. Have your nutrition. Please accept and understand that, what you eat or what you get for them from the market does not have all the nutrients. So you will need to supplement, but supplement with the right supplementation, which is Neutralite. Again, Neutralite, because we know and can guarantee from source to the supplement, it is pure organic. The DNA has not been tampered with. Intentions. What are your health goals? Put up a visual goal. आपको कैसे दिखना है? Probably buy a new dress for yourself, which is 2 sizes smaller. Look at, if you have high sugar, probably put up a sugar, this thing, what is your target pre and post sugar level that you want to achieve? So set that clear intention, learn something new. Today is a Monday. On Friday, we will bring to you another topic. Come and join us. I believe in just looking at what this program is telling you, because trust me, the topics that we have cover every aspect of health in it. You don't need to look at any social media site. What Farooq says in the first few minutes of every session, there is so much of learning just in those few minutes, and exercise daily. If you can't do anything, just go for a brisk walk. If you are an IT like I was, there are some simple exercises that are loaded on our site where you can, during calls, you can do. Can you take your call walking? Can you take your calls or do your work standing? Do those exercises. So yeah, that's it from my side. I hope you got some takeaways and some benefits from today's session. Yeah, that's it from my side. Thanks, and back to you, Deepika.
Thank you so much, Veda. That was so simple. Yes, complex topics, but the way you put it across, you've simplified it for most all of us. And I'm sure everybody would have a key takeaway from this. Yes, good evening, Commander Vadera. You'd like to say something? We can't hear you, sir.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. So as always, a very learning evening, which I look forward to. My question is, I'm not talking I'm talking of a person who's a non-veg who likes to have a social drinking. So when you have a social drinking, it's very natural that you have a starters, and we always like to have non-veg starters. Okay. So most of the non-veg starters, I think, are not good. I know. So can you suggest some good non-veg starters which will go well with the drink and which will not do too much harm. Of course, next day I do more walk to neutralize that extra thing which has gone in. But is there any alternate to a good non-veg starters which are also healthy, and even veg starters? I don't know.
In fact, it's a myth that the worst starters with drinks are your peanuts and your wafers. Okay, non-veg starters are not all that bad because non-veg starters do have protein in it. It is when you have some things like fried fish fingers. Now the fish is good, but the oil in which they fry the fish, that causes harm. So things like chicken tikka and all, they are pretty okay, but in a reasonable quantity. Like if you eat 20 pieces of chicken tikka while drinking, I call that eating without application of mind. Then you're going to be in serious trouble because you haven't had your real fiber before that. So that is the main thing. So if you're having some like vegetarian, it's a good thing to put some carrots over there, put some radish over there, put some cucumber over there, cut it into nice slices, decorate it. So those are definitely far, would stand better as compared to just eating some oily stuff.
That may be possible at home, but when you go out, it's difficult to get those kind of stuff, made to order kind of thing.
No, if you're outside, then you are in trouble in any case, sir.
So I stop going outside. Okay, thank you. One cannot have
We can't hear you, Commander Vadera. The voice is very low.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just saying that when one has to go out, all these things are okay when you can probably do it at home. Wife can make it, so she knows it's good for you. But outside, the choice is so less that I really don't know what to order.
Can I take the opportunity of answering on behalf of Farooq?
Yeah, please.
I think a very good idea before you step out for drinks or dinner is to actually go 50% tummy full. And that is something, before you stepping out, probably have a big bowl of salad. Probably have half of your meal, because that's been my cheat code in the last 1.5 years. That way you're socially participating also, you're socially eating and drinking also. But when you're almost 30, 40, 50% stomach full, you won't be able to eat as much as you want. And that will certainly help. So you will, meet both the ends. You will meet the nutrition part of it also, and you will also meet the taste and socializing part of it also. It'll be a very good idea to have a big bowl of salad before you step out for your social drinking, because you'll take care of the fiber. You will, Veda, you can pitch in if you want. I think that's a good idea. You'll have a less tendency to actually overeat on the non-veg and go for the grilled and go for the tandoori. That is always a better option. And I'm sure wherever you socially drink, we all have been, part of that culture. Tandoori is always an option. I mean, you have option of fried, you have option of grilled, you have option of tandoori. Go for the lesser evil.
Yeah, I think that looks more practical.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And don't end up eating desserts, for sure.
Yeah, I think if you can
For
actually fill your tummy by 30-40% before you step out, by the time you actually eat over there, you'll not have too much of, space for desserts.
Yeah. Even for to have less drinks outside, I'm saying, yeah, social drinkers means one or two. Then you drink water and go. I mean, I'm told that subsides your quest
No,
for.
and even, people who are drinking socially, if they have something, if you've already eaten something, the harmful impact of liquor on the lining of your stomach will be much lesser. Drinking on a partially or an empty stomach worsens the whole situation. So that is something one can keep in mind for more than one reasons. So great. I think we've had a fantastic session. Thank you for your questions, Commander Vadera. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you on Friday, and I hope you have been able to take home some food for thought so that you can have better food on your plate. Thank you so much, Veda. Thanks a lot, Farooq. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Good night.